Yeah, let's do some shooting. And there she is. Feels very well made. 5 shots in 2 seconds at 3, 5, 7, and 10 yard. Somebody is gonna win a Traeger right now. Oh God, this gun! I want to just throw it. One in the chamber. How about that? Hey everybody, welcome back to the Concealed Carry channel. I'm Grant McLean. Today we're going to do part 2 for the Rock Island Armory BBR 3.10. This is today our range review, a little bit more in-depth look into the gun. We'll jump into this in a second. It's kind of interesting what happened. Anyways, let's give a shout out to our Patreon supporters. Of course, you guys know you're already awesome. I would love for you to be a Patreon supporter of the channel. Check out the link for Patreon in the description below. Of course, if you need to get anything, visit nwarmory.com. If you're not local, don't worry about it. They can ship to your local FFL. If you are local, go into the store. Tell them that Grant said hey. And X-Hunt Targets. X-Hunt Target makes the awesome reactive targets that are weather resistant for the channel. XHuntTargets.com. Get some of those. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about this gun and our range findings. Now, if you've never seen this before, our goal is to do 5 shots in 2 seconds at 3, 5, 7, and 10 yards. Now, I've never shot this gun before. I did a quick little warm-up with it, and if you take your time, I mean, the thing is an absolute tack driver, but in this circumstance, we're not necessarily taking our time. So our 3-yard group was 3.6 inches and really, you know, had that little flyer down there. But these 4 really nice groups, that is just over an inch group. Okay, the 5-yard, 2.75. There's actually 2 bullets in that one hole right there. Nice grouping. Again, we had another little flyer down there. That was kind of the theme on this. We had one little flyer, whatever. The 7-yard was 3.6 inches, so coincidentally, the 7-yard was the same group size as the 3-yard. That 7-yard is kind of my make or break. Sometimes it's terrible, sometimes it's really exceptional. Again, nice groups here with those 4 shots, and then we had a little flyer up there. And then the 10 yards, these actually are pretty decent, is a pretty decent group right here. And you're looking at about a 3-inch, maybe 3.5-inch group at 10 yards. But then we take this one into consideration, and now we're looking almost 6 inches. That was a 5 3/4 inch group. Overall, for this being the first time I have really shot this gun, it's a 3.1 inch barrel length, and the sight radius is fairly short. I wasn't too disappointed with how the groups turned out, especially for this being like my first time I've ever shot this gun. What I was disappointed about was the functionality of the gun. We had at least 4 malfunctions just doing this 3, 5, 7, and 10 yard, 5 shots in 2 seconds. So we're talking 20 rounds, 4 malfunctions. Ooh, look at that. Here, is this a failure to feed or a failure to eject? That is a failure to feed. I believe it was 2 failures to feed, and 2 times the trigger didn't even work. I don't know what the problem was. I didn't break the whole gun down into little pieces or anything like that, and I haven't taken it to a gunsmith to see what the problem was. I don't know. Took the mag out, cleared the chamber, reloaded it, shot fine. I don't know. Couldn't tell you. No rhyme, no reason. You know, the thing is something like that to me is a severe issue. But at the same time, when you're looking at certain price point guns, I hate to say it, but it can be, in my opinion, sometimes expected. Sometimes you'll absolutely knock it out of the park. You'll get like one of these and it's perfect, like never malfunction, so on and so forth. But I've heard of this before from other people who have Rock Island 1911s, and I find that a lot of them actually send them off to like Haynes Customs, and they go through the whole gun and make it run perfectly flawless. But you have to be okay with that. You know what I mean? You are taking a little bit of a risk, I think, when you do get a, let's see here, how should I say, cheap, cheaper 1911 and expect it to perform like those more handcrafted and hand-fitted 1911s that are out on the market. So you do take a little bit of a risk there. But anyways, oh, one more thing. Now, in part one, in the unboxing, and I should have brought this to the range, but I didn't bring it to the range. I think that this is kind of an interesting piece that the gun comes with. Now, this is a pre-owned gun, so I don't have a whole count of how many rounds have been through this gun, but there is a spring that comes with it, and it says that every 500 rounds you replace the recoil spring. This one is still sealed, so that leads me to believe that it has not been changed, but I don't know that this gun has had more than 500 rounds or is ready for it to replace. So it's kind of funky. I don't know why it jammed. The ammo's good, fired fine. I've shot that ammo through countless other 1911s. So let's go ahead and talk about this gun. We'll start at the sights and then work our way down to the magazine and go through the controls and stuff like that and give you an idea of what we're looking at here. So starting at the front, like I said earlier, we have a 3.1 inch barrel, chambered in 45. This does have porting in the barrel and in the slide as well. And I'll tell you what, when I shot this gun, or when I was about to shoot this gun, I don't necessarily like shooting small guns. They just don't shoot as smooth as larger guns. And I was a little nervous. I was like, oh man, I wonder what I bet this thing's just gonna shoot like dog shit. But I was actually really surprised. It does soften that muzzle rise quite a bit with just those 3 ports there. Doesn't have like a big old compensator hanging off the end, but yeah, it was actually a very pleasurable to shoot gun. The sights on here, these are dovetail sights. The rear sight is adjustable. So the front sight is all black, has the little serrations in there. The rear sight has the 2 dots. So it's fairly easy to line these up. I think it's still easier to line up a 3-dot sight where you can just put that front one in the center, especially if it was a high-vis sight. Ooh, that'd be perfect. But I do like the fact that they are adjustable. On the slide, the coating is just okay. You can see whomever owned this before, just from holster wear, it's already wearing through the slide. One of the things that I find people do is they take their Rock Islands and they're getting them. I mean, this gun's only $6.99 MSRP, and you're going to find it for less than that. And other 1911s by Rock Island are going to be sub $600, and people will actually take them. They'll send them into custom shop like Haynes Customs, and they'll go through and recoat the whole thing with a better coating, and then basically they do hand fitting to the gun to bring it, you know, more just higher up there, reliability wise, smoothness when it comes to shooting, the trigger feel, all the above. They'll even do machining to it as well. So if you need something like that done, reach out to them. I don't work for them or anything like that. It's just I know they do really, really good work. But I would recommend, if you plan to, you know, keep this gun for a long time and you want it to look aesthetically as nice as possible for as long as possible, I would probably get it recoated. The serrations in the back, they're easy to really get a nice positive grip on. I would have liked some front serrations up here if possible, but that's okay. You know, I know that a lot of times people want to keep this front part here smooth, especially with concealed carry guns. I just personally like it. Now, the recoil spring on this gun, for as small as it is very, very light. So I have, you know, dealt with some of these smaller 45s, 10 mils, and you're like, holy cow, this thing is crazy hard to pull back. This one, not so much. So I actually like that a lot, and you can get a nice positive grip on there with those rear serrations as well. Now, up front here, you don't have a rail on it, so if you're planning on getting a gun that you can attach like a light or a laser light combo on a pick rail or something like that, this may not be necessarily the right one for you, just being honest. Let's take a look at some of the controls here. The slide lock release, or slide lock right here, it has some nice checkering to it. It's easy to manipulate if you have larger hands. If you have smaller hands, you can see that there's my thumb is nowhere near that thing. So that's something to keep in mind if you have smaller hands, mine are medium size, is you're going to have to change that grip angle to lock that back. All right. Now the safety is very easy to manipulate, just like most all 1911s are. And it is not ambidextrous, so that's something that you want to keep in mind if you're a left-handed shooter. Now, the trigger on this, it's not bad. As far as like 1911 platforms, I definitely have felt smoother, but at the same time, you know, when you're dealing with like Dan Wesson or Nighthawk, duh, you better. That's going to be like cream of the crop. This is not a bad trigger for what it is. And you can definitely get this trigger smoothed out if you want to. So you'll see here you have a tiny little bit of take up and you're at the wall. Snap, nice crisp break. The reset's not bad either. Right there you go. So yeah, I dig the trigger. It's not a super light trigger like some of them, like the staccato. If you sneeze, the trigger's going, you know. If you blow on it, it's going. This is about 4 pounds, about 4.5 or so, and I think it's just over time going to get smoother and smoother. Of course, you can send it in and get it like super smooth right off the bat, but yeah, the trigger is actually not too bad. Has your traditional, you know, grip safety there. The hammer I like the skeletonized look, just like the trigger here has that skeletonized trigger, but I like the skeletonized look, and the serrations on the top are really easy to get a hold of. You get a nice positive grip on those. They're not too sharp to where your thumbs get gnarled up either. So I do like that hammer on there. So the mag release, it sticks out pretty far, has some nice serrations on there. So even though I have medium-sized hands, you can see my thumb can get to that actually pretty well. And even with this short grip, because this is so thick, it does kind of push the gun away from the mag well, away from my palm, so I'm not having to really move a whole lot. Now, if you have, you know, big hands, you know, this is going to be something that you want to keep in mind. And if you do get your hands on one of these, you want to practice with. When it comes to micro size guns, it is not too abnormal for you to have to move the bottom of your hand out of the way. You go like grab a P365, a Hellcat, something like that, where your extended magazine is part of the grip. You have to get used to that. That's kind of one of the things. Same thing as if you have larger size hands and this is a gun that you want to conceal carry. Just a little bit of practice there, I think, is going to go a long way. If you have medium size hands like I do, you can see it just goes right past it. So not too much concern there for me. All right, let's talk about this grip. This grip is, it's a chunker. It's a chunky chunk. This grip is that thick one. I mean, it is, my God, look at this thing. It's 1.5 inches wide. It's the thickest part of the gun. I mean, to give you an idea, it feels just like this 10 millimeter, except for they've chopped off like 1.5 inches off the bottom. But if you take like here's, I guess I could use this for reference. So here's a Kimber micro repeat. It's a 9 mil, but since we're kind of on this 1911 thing, I mean, look at the difference between the two of those. You know what I mean? This thing is thick. I mean, the G10 grips alone are like probably double the thickness of the G10 grips on these. This is like one of the most awkward feeling guns I have ever felt. You got, it's like a tuna can. It's short and wide, but it's very strong. It'll do a lot of damage. You know what I mean? The tuna can. I'm gonna call this thing the tuna can now. Is that Bumblebee, chicken of the ocean, or what is it? Chicken of the sea?
Chicken of the sea.
Chicken of the sea, right here. Bang, bang. Very funny. So that is something that you'll have to keep in mind is what, what it doesn't have in length, it makes up for in width. Yeah, appendix carry this baby. So anyways, that's something that I would say keep in mind when you're looking into this type of gun. But here's the thing is that's the sacrifice you're going to make to get 10 rounds. Because most 1911s you're looking at are 7, 8 rounds, maybe. This, in this short of a frame, is 10 rounds. So if you're in love with 1911s, you're in love with 45, you want to have that, and you're okay sacrificing some width for more capacity, this may actually be a really good fit for you. So one of the more common guns that I think you're going to find in stores from Rock Island are going to be their double stack, either 45s or 10 mils. And I would say go ahead, grab one of those, and see how it feels. If you like the way it feels, imagine just chopping off about 1.5 inches off the grip. And if you say to yourself, all right, cool, I'm good with that, that's what I want to carry, then I would say you're confidently ordering one blindly. And you may have to order one online because, like I said in part 1, I have only seen one of these in stock prior to getting this one. And the only way that we got this one into the armory was because it's pre-owned. So to sum things up here, when it comes to gun, because I didn't get a touch on this, you do have some nice serrations on the front strap and the back strap. And when the magazine is in, it is actually nicely fitted. And you can see here, even the lines of the mag, complement the rest of the gun. The fit and finish all looks very, very nice. Thank you again for joining me for this tabletop review and range review of the Rock Island, the Baby Rock 3.10. If this is a gun that you have, please put in the comments your feedback as an owner. And also, if this is a gun that you've considered and you decided to go with something different, I'd love to hear your feedback on why. We're all about helping the community make better educated decisions here, okay? So, again, thank you so much for joining me today. And, of course, check out that Patreon link in the description below. Visit nwarmory.com if you need to get anything. And visit xhunttargets.com to order up some of those awesome reactive targets. We'll see you here next time on the Concealed Carry channel. Thanks so much. Now it is. Okay, yeah, all right. There we go.
Okay.
I'm like, ooh, yeah, ooh, boom! Ah, jammed again! All right. Set that thing down. Jesus. Should have taken that spring with us. All right, anyways. Are we ready?
Ready.
We're ready? Okay, let's record. Let's go. Look at serious face. All right. And check out the description, or, I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm saying, so go ahead and take that part out. That's a thick one.
Great job.